Well, hi everyone. It's Ivan Slavich, the CEO of Soldier On, for our live Q&A chat. Good to see you all, and hopefully we can have a good session and have some good interactions and some questions that are raised. Soldier On has been in existence since 2012. We set up Soldier On as a consequence of Michael Fussell, a good mate of John Bale, dying in Afghanistan as a consequence of an IED explosion. So they came back to Australia and could see how the family was really gathering around the Fussell family, and thought, you know what, there really isn't this service being provided around the country. So as a consequence, Soldier On started, and we've been providing services to veterans ever since. At the moment, Soldier On is located right across the country. We're actually the only national holistic ex-service organisation, and we provide our services, which is, our vision is to enable serving and ex-serving veterans and their families to thrive. And we provide services through our help model, which is health and wellbeing, employment, learning and education, participation, and social connection. So we've really grown over the last 2 years. We've gone from 26 employees to 70. We have over 350 active volunteers, including the board and ambassadors. And we provide that right across the country. And we have around 12,000 people that we have some form of interaction with, over 5,000 that are directly supported by Soldier On through our service provision model, and we also have a lot of people participating in our March On campaign, which is all about health and wellbeing, and also providing social connection, because there were 6,300 people that did that in March this year, and 800 teams, so that provided really good social connection opportunities. So we're doing that right across the country. We are absolutely changing lives. I mean, some of the services that we are providing, some of the commentary that we're getting back from participants and veterans is just absolutely amazing and life-changing. We know we save lives, we know we change lives, and it's I can only just shudder to think what the statistics would be if in terms of veteran suicide, if it wasn't for the existence of Soldier On. And one of the interesting things that Hugh Remington said to me once was that he said that, look, if Soldier On saves one life, then it would have been worth it. So it's just pretty impactful, I think. Really delighted with my team. Provide great services. We get fantastic feedback right across the country. And as I said, we are without question changing lives. Of course, the really big development that's taken place in the veteran community has been the developments in Afghanistan. I don't think anyone realised that the Taliban would take the country as quickly as what they have, and to some extent, it's really shown. The authorities were really not expecting such a swift victory. And over the last week and a half, I've spent a lot of time speaking with veterans, and indeed, since the fall of Kabul, a lot of veterans are really hurting as a consequence of that. And the thing that really comes out, really strongly, is major concern for those who assisted the Australian Defence Force and the Allied forces during the time in Afghanistan, and what will come of them. Because we know the Al Qaeda, and whilst Al Qaeda's been defeated, but the Taliban can be quite ruthless. So it really is a concern in terms of what impact that's going to have for those left behind. Soldier On actually wrote to the governments many weeks ago about this particular issue. There's a lot of distress from our service ambassadors and participants around this particular point. And as I said, look, I think the government officials didn't realise how quickly things would develop in Afghanistan. So as a consequence of one of our ambassadors had an Afghan service member of the army reach out to us recently and ask whether Soldier On would be able to provide support for him and his family with the services that we provide. So we've actually made a decision, given the developments in Afghanistan, that Soldier On is going to extend its service provision not only to Australian Defence Force personnel, but to those serving and ex-serving in the Afghan security forces, and also those who provided assistance to Soldier On during the conflict in Afghanistan. So it's a pretty swift decision that we've made. We'll have to change our constitution to take this into account. It's important to note that we do have some discretionary funding in order to be able to do this, and I think there is it's really come from our veterans for us to do this. So that's not necessarily something that we've decided on our own. It's something that has really come out through our service ambassadors, our veteran community, that we really should be providing support to those members of the Afghan security forces and their families and those that helped us over in Afghanistan. So we'll be providing our full suite of services to those who are already based in Australia, and indeed for those who are trying to make the journey from Afghanistan to Australia, we'll also support them with our health, employment, education and social connection services. The other thing I would say is that on all those counts, with those 4 particular service lines that Soldier On provides, we've expanded quite substantially over the last year and a bit. We're now in Darwin, we're in Hobart, we've extended to Singleton. In fact, we're helping spouses of those who are posted at Singleton at the School of Infantry. We're continuing to really expand our health, employment, education and social connection services around the country. We're also looking to expand our scholarship programs. We're continually expanding those employers that are looking to provide employment opportunities for veterans. So we are continuing to expand those services, deliver our services, and we've seen a substantial increase in the participant base at Soldier On. Another thing we've done recently is we've put an engagement button on our website. So instead of having to fill in lots of forms to become a participant, because there is a bit of a process to do so, we've really streamlined that process, and people can now sign up as a Soldier On participant directly from the website. So it's simply a matter of clicking that button and selecting what you're interested. Obviously, it's the service that's provided to anyone that's put on a uniform for a day in the Australian Defence Force, and now members of the Afghan security forces and those who assisted the ADF in Afghanistan. And we are indeed looking to continue to expand and provide those services to our participant base. Okay, so I just having a look at the comments section, but so I might actually open it up to questions and to comments, and obviously we've got the welcome message there from Soldier On. I'll have a look. So we've got a question here from Neville. Can you volunteer for Soldier On? Absolutely. So as I indicated before, when I actually first started in the role, there was a What we actually did is we actually went through the whole volunteer database just to ascertain whether people were still actively interested in volunteering. So we wanted to make sure that we have absolute that we have those who are really interested in volunteering rather than just putting it on their CV. And we've got about 350 active volunteers, so that includes all the board members are all voluntary. None of them get paid for anything. In fact, indeed, the chair regularly, like if we have a gala ball, he pays for his own ticket. So they are voluntary, they pay their way, and they're absolutely providing their services. So it's quite an easy process to volunteer for Soldier On. Simply go to our website at soldieron.org.au, Neville, and it's simply a case of, we've also got an online form for that, so it's simply a case of going to the website and filling in that form on the website to become a volunteer. So we absolutely encourage you to do so, and would love to have you on board. So we've got Pete Mead wants to talk about volunteering, ex-ambassador, Broken Vet for nearly 3 years. Look, as I said here, similar to what I just said there before, Pete, in terms of volunteering for Soldier On. Of course, there is a process. There's also a need to ensure that you can work with vulnerable people. So it is a bit of a process to come on board. But yes, certainly encourage you to fill in the appropriate forms and have a look at see where you can help. So I'm just reading from Adrian Nugget. I was 5 years at 89 RAR. Any diggers looking for affordable accommodation? Frankston, message me. There you go. So there you go. If you're looking at accommodation in Frankston, message Adrian now in the Roaming House Operators Association. Diggers helping diggers. And look, just on that point, look, Soldier On's really, really big on collaboration. One of the things that is of interest to me is you see this criticism about the lack of collaboration between ex-service organisations. I can tell you, nothing could be further from the truth when it comes to Soldier On. We collaborate with so many other ex-service organisations. We collaborate with Legacy, with RSL Queensland, with Mates for Mates. In fact, we're going into the Veteran Hub in Darwin with Mates for Mates. We're in an SA Health facility in Adelaide. We share a facility at Legacy House in Melbourne, so we're there with Legacy and RSL Victoria. We work very, very closely with Ken and his team from Legacy in Melbourne. We've done joint operations with Disaster Relief Australia, previously Team Rubicon, up in Elorn in Queensland. We work with Robe to Recovery in the town of Robe in South Australia. We were in a Legacy building in Perth. Legacy wanted that space back, and so where have we gone? We've gone into an RSL facility in Perth. So we actually work very closely also with DMFS, which was previously DCA, uses our facility in Canberra. We've got Gary Wilson and his Bear consulting with the fitness elements that are just running programs in our Robert Pote Centre in Canberra. So there's lots and lots of collaboration that takes place. So we're really big on collaboration. Okay, so just reading, so Donna, respect to our soldiers and all serving defence. Keep up the great work, well done Soldier On from Donna. Great work from Greg Davies, and here's Beck Jackson. Beck's a Soldier On ambassador. So thanks for supporting Soldier On providing at this time. And thank you, Beck, also for the work that you do in assisting Soldier On. Beck's a psychologist as well, and got a new book coming out. So we love working with you, Beck, and the work that you do. I better turn my phone on silent too. So you love working with you, Beck, and the work that you do with the veteran community as well. And extending the service to non-ADF vets as well. Look, it was clearly the developments in Afghanistan are pretty significant. So we wanted to act very swiftly on that. Soldier On is actually we provide that national holistic service. We're not a federated body, so we're a company, and we're able to deploy our services very quickly right across the country. And as I said, Soldier On is located in every capital city. We're also located in Newcastle, Singleton, Port Macquarie, recently in Kiama, in Albury, and also in Sale, Victoria. And looking to continue, I mean, one of our aims is to have some form of presence in every veteran wellbeing hub across the country. So that's where the government provided $5 million for veteran wellbeing hubs. We're an anchor tenant in the one in Adelaide, but we're also going into Darwin with the Mates for Mates. They're taking the lead on that particular facility. We've spoken to RSL Victoria about Albury. We're talking to RSL Life Care with regard to Nara. We already have an operation in Kiama. We're also talking to RSL Queensland and other ESOs in terms of the developments of a centre in southeast Queensland. There's also a centre going into Tasmania. So the idea is, Soldier On would like to have a presence in all those locations to at least provide a conduit for the provision of our services. I'll just go down and read a few more. Soldier On just posted just some more information there on volunteering. You can just click the link in the comments section. Shane Mark says hi from Victoria. Hi Shane, how are you? Jimmy Tuns, is there any plans to develop a transition application to fill the void between transition, separation and beyond? Look, thanks for that question, Jimmy. And look, we are absolutely all about transition. And what's important, if you just look at our vision statement, we enable serving and ex-serving veterans and their families to thrive. And in some ways, I think the term ESO is actually there's a bit of an anachronism with that particular saying. We're actually not just an ex-service organisation. We also help serving, particularly those in their final years of service. So about 6,000 people get out of the ADF each year. And so we actually help with that transition. So the last 6 months, the last 12 months of being in the ADF to help find a job. So we help with that transition. It's a big part of our program. We actually receive federal government funding via DVA for our enhanced employment transition program. So absolutely help with that transition from the ADF to the civilian world. And I think one of the things that we're a bit different from other potential transitional organisations, even the Joint Transition Authority, which is embedded within Defence, is Soldier On has a foot both in the serving world and the ex-serving world. So it's not a case of just meeting people at the gate, which perhaps the old ex-service organisations. We're actually there during serving and ex-serving so that we can actually build that bridge. It's a really important component of what we do. And we also help spouses. So, for example, where we're in Singleton, Singleton is very much, James Smith is the commanding officer at the School of Infantry. So he had an issue with postings of people to Singleton. And what we do is we actually find a job for the spouse or for family members in Singleton, which will make that settlement into Singleton a lot easier. But yeah, look, absolutely, the transition is a really big part of what we do, and having a foot in both camps. And of course, there are many within Soldier On who have served in the ADF. A big part of those who work at Soldier On have done so. Have been deployed overseas. So we do get it. We do understand what's required. And of course, many people that are transitioning out of the ADF are doing it involuntarily. So it could be a medical discharge. So we are absolutely helping people, really helping those people as they transition, particularly if it's not their choice. And in fact, Jason down in Melbourne, who loads all the jobs up onto our jobs board, was in the, and he doesn't mind me talking about this, but I've talked to him about it. He was in the army and was medically discharged for physical reasons. And he wanted to still continue to serve in some shape or form. And one of the things that Jason loves about working with Soldier On is he sort of feels like that he's still part of the family and still part of the ADF. And certainly that's the way Soldier On feels. So yeah, look, many people don't leave the ADF because they want to. They really don't have any choice in the matter. Okay, just go through to some more questions and comments. Um, okay, so Fiona Davison wants to volunteer too. That's fantastic. Please, Fiona, fill in the form. We would love to see you as a volunteer. And in fact, some people start off as volunteers at Soldier On and end up start working for us as well. And that's an important thing, is that we have 70 paid employees, but we also have 350. So we've actually got a pretty healthy ratio of volunteers to paid employees within the organisation. So and the payment part is obviously to ensure that Soldier On is a professional organisation. Okay, so Soldier On's answering Brett there. Who can collaborate with Soldier On? So effectively, that's from Liam. Look, we're really big on collaboration. So certainly other ex-service organisations, but it doesn't have to be just ex-service organisations. So for example, we've been in discussions with Pain Australia. Pain Australia are very much, a large proportion of the Australian population is on some form of pain relief and medication. So we're working with Pain Australia, for example, to assist with that. And we've also got Fussell House at Concord Hospital, so that's a Sydney local health district. Magnificent facility. You've got the National Centre for Veteran Health there, and there's 19 rooms, 4 family rooms, 15 single rooms, which it's a bit like a Ronald McDonald House, like the one at Canberra Hospital. So there's a veteran wellbeing Michael Fussell House at Concord Hospital. So that's collaboration between us and the Sydney Local Health District. We collaborate with many organisations that have got a similar sort of purpose and direction of helping veterans and their families. So another question there about when are we going to get the new member here in Albury, Soldier On, and also we're going to have counsellors there as well. So yeah, we had our staff member left Albury recently. We've been in the recruitment phase for that role, and hopefully we'll be filling that soon. In terms of counsellors, it's really hard to get psychs and counsellors across the country. There's a massive demand right across the country. So we've got to the stage now, we have a standing ad for Soldier On for psychs and counsellors. We've been really growing that team. Joe's the leader of that team based in Melbourne, and we've been growing that quite strongly. And the plan is for Soldier On to provide the help services right across the country. So health and wellbeing, employment, learning and education, participation and social connection. So there are some centres where we provide all 4 of those directly and physically on the ground, and there are other centres where we provide it virtually. So the plan is, as much as possible, we would want to provide all those services in all our locations right across the country. And of course now we're extending that to Afghan security forces. And with our growth pattern, I wouldn't be surprised if we grow even further. So Angela just tells me, just reading a note here, saying that we've recruited for the Albury position. They will start in a few weeks' time. So thanks for that feedback, Angela. That's really great. Just going down for a few more questions. Thanks from Pete Mead. No worries, mate. Okay. So Jason Wallace, g'day. Or if anyone in the Tweed who needs any help, here if you need. So thanks for that, Jason. And once again, we love to collaborate. Our Brisbane office has actually grown quite substantially. So I've been with Soldier On for coming up to 2 years. So when I first started, there was John and Kay were the 2 people located in Brisbane with no office. So we're now in the northern suburbs of Brisbane, and we're about 10 or 11 staff members in Brisbane. So we're also considering whether we go up to Townsville and also on the Goldie as well, see whether there's in that Tweed sort of area as well. So it's important that when we do expand our services, we do so where there's real demand for those services, so that we don't just expand willy-nilly. It's really important that when we do so when there's a demand for those services. And we also collaborate with other ex-service organisations to try to avoid duplication if there's no need for that service in a particular location because it's already been covered. So we talk to RSL Queensland and Mates for Mates with regard to that. Okay, so question from Fiona Davison. If Soldier On isn't in your town area, can I, not a veteran, get a group started, or should I just volunteer with another organisation? I'm in Ballarat. I know Ballarat really well. One of my previous jobs was CEO of Transact, which also meant being the CEO of Neighbourhood Cable, which was in Ballarat, Mildura and Geelong. So I know Ballarat really well. And yeah, look, we are looking to continue to provide our services in regional centres. So if there isn't sufficient services in Ballarat at the moment, we're happy to have a look at it. My suggestion would be to volunteer with Soldier On, and we could have a look at how we could potentially deploy those services in Ballarat. And in fact, the other great person in Ballarat is Justin Wilbur. So Justin, ironically, used to work for me when I was the CEO of Transact, and he started the Driveway at Dawn movement from Ballarat. So it was amazing movement. So the Aussies and Kiwis for Anzacs ended up amassing 250,000 followers on Facebook, and it was such a needed activity in the heart of COVID lockdown, which most of us are in right now, including me. And Justin was just amazing in setting that up. So we've continued our close working relationship with Justin and Aussies and Kiwis for Anzac. So Ballarat's a very special place. Okay, I'm just having a look at some more questions. They're coming in pretty thick and fast. So Tony Winterbottom, g'day Tony, how are you? Do you have enough funding to do what's needed, Ivan? Look, I think it's a bit like, how long's a piece of string? When I first started, financially, whilst we had really good ideas of deploying services, financially we weren't in great shape. And so it has been a pretty big focus of mine since I started to improve the financial position of the organisation. Our income is nearly doubled. And our number of employees has nearly tripled, and so we're just continuing to deliver more and more services. I think the reality is, if you have a look at the funding around the country, there's going to be $270 billion spent on defence over the next 10 years. That's B with a B, billion. DVA receive around $13 billion each year. And you would have also recently seen that the Australian War Memorial received $500 million for the expansion of the War Memorial, which, by the way, we support Matt Anderson and the team there, and Brendan Nelson before him. We're big fans of the War Memorial. I actually sit on the Australian, the War and the Sufferings of War and Service, Sufferings of War Sculpture and Service Committee at the Australian War Memorial. But you think if we can find that much money for war memorials and for defence, they could find money for organisations like Soldier On and other ex-service organisations. It's a really important thing, the work that we do. Okay, trying to go back to some more questions. So Beck's saying, don't forget to check out the Soldier On Jobs Board. We've got over 1,000 jobs. It's been up to 2,000 jobs on the jobs board. So once again, it used to be around 200 to 300 jobs. We've now exploded that. So lots and lots of opportunities on that jobs board for veterans and their family members. So Jason Wallace, lots of vets in Tweed Heads. Would love to get Soldier On started here and be part of it. Yeah, look, absolutely. The Gold Coast area, the Tweed Heads area is definitely an area that we're looking at. We know there's lots of veterans in that beautiful part of the country. So yeah, we're definitely looking at that as a potential area of expansion as well. We got Tony Foran. Hi, Tony from Thailand. Ching Mai, owner of So Military Rings. Well, there you go. Welcome, Tony. It's nice to have you. We're going international here with this particular broadcast, so it's lovely to hear from you, Tony, and thanks for your support. So I'm just going through. Seeing if there's more questions. How do I? So also got a job from someone anonymous. How can I get a job through Soldier On? As I said, if you qualify in terms of being one of our participants, which means anyone who served in the ADF post 1990, wore a uniform for a day, we're absolutely here for you. So we can absolutely help you get a job, help you with your CV preparation, application for a job, interview techniques. And one of the great things with a lot of our pledge companies is that they actually, providing we put someone forward with the appropriate qualifications, that they will give you an interview. There are many organisations that guarantee that. Some of the companies that have signed the pledge, you've got Boeing, Thales, BAE, Babcock's. You've got a lot of really fantastic organisations where there's great opportunities, and as I said, there's more than 1,000 jobs on our jobs board. So from Millie Baker Roberts, having trouble filling out the volunteering form. Well, look, definitely, if you're having trouble doing that, a member of my team will absolutely help you to fill in that form. It is online, but if you're having troubles with it, I'm not sure where your location is, but as I said, we've got people on the ground in every capital city in Australia. We would love to help you. So yeah, we'd love to have you volunteer as well. So, and it'd be interesting to find out, what parts of the form are difficult to do. So we should make it less difficult. Okay, so from Yantra Dowie, what were you hoping will come out of the Royal Commission into veteran suicide, more funding, etc.? It's a really good question. We've actually established a working group at Soldier On, and we have actually got some volunteers. We've got some interns from UC that are on that committee. We've got an ex-managing partner of a major law firm in Sydney who's on our committee. We've got our chair, who's the former Chief of Army, myself, and members within Soldier On. So we actually also responded to the terms of reference for the Royal Commission, and we're also with this working group, we're going to have some consultative forums with our participant base to get feedback. There are some people that don't feel comfortable appearing before a Royal Commission, so we'll make that easier for them by getting their input. We've got a number of participants whose partners have unfortunately taken their own life. It's quite tragic, and like getting feedback and input from them. But look, I think ultimately, what Soldier On does, I know for a fact, we change and save lives. So one would hope that one of the outcomes from the Royal Commission is going to be that organisations like Soldier On are going to get a whole heap more funding, because we if we had more money, we absolutely would deliver more services to more centres and get to more participants. So if you look at the numbers, there's about 400,000 people that have discharged from the ADF since 1990. If you take their families into account, there's about 1 million people that have a direct relationship with defence. The suicide rate is totally unacceptable at around 500. 41 were killed in Afghanistan, and more than 10 times that number have taken their own life. So look, one would think that one way of reducing, when you know that organisations like Soldier On reduce the rate of suicide, if we got more funding, we're going to be able to save more lives. So I think that is a logical outcome, but unfortunately it's a very long process, and governments don't always follow all the recommendations, which is also one of the criticisms of Royal Commissions. But hey, at least there's a Royal Commission, and at least the government is willing to get to the bottom of what's happening in that space. Love you to be involved, Yantra, with what we're doing. So we do have, I'm not sure if you're a participant or not, but certainly sign up as a participant, and we'd love to get your feedback as part of that process. Okay, just reading some more. So with Millie, the online form is not working for you. Feel free to reach out, which is great. Thanks, team. And Millie's saying it's only giving American states. That's interesting. So we definitely need to, I'm not sure why it's doing that. So from Cassandra, does Soldier On support the whole defence family and regardless of time and service? That's a very good question. So Soldier On, our constitution is to provide support for those serving and ex-serving veterans and their families who have served or put a uniform on for a day since 1990. So as long as you've had a uniform on for a day, or if you're a family member of someone who has, and as I said, now also extending it to the Afghan security forces and to those who assisted the ADF in Afghanistan. So as long as you meet that definition, we're happy to talk with you and see how we can help you. So when you actually sign up online to become a participant, there's also that particular form also asks, what areas of interest. Is it health and wellbeing? Is it our psych and counselling services? Is it our employment transition services? Is it our education? And there's some really exciting things happening in education, let me tell you. So we have 45 education partners, including the Australian Catholic University. We're talking to the University of Canberra, University of South Australia, Western Sydney University. So there's some amazing things. And we don't just pick a uni just because it's a uni. We only really partner with unis that have actually got a specific program for veterans that are going to help veterans. So it's not like just ringing up the uni versus going through Soldier On's the same thing. It's different. There's definitely major opportunities in going through Soldier On when it comes to education. And also watch this space. There's some exciting things that are going to be coming out in that university sector, and also with the scholarship program that Soldier On is in the process of developing. So Pete, so we've got to develop peer support from veterans in consultation with Joe and the psych team. Absolutely, agree. So Beck, yes, the whole family, and yes, if you've served a day and still serving. Brett's asked about Albury. So yeah, as I said, with Albury, we've got a new person that will be starting there in a few weeks' time. So we've recruited someone, and they'll be starting soon. So Zell Crawford, we would love to have you come out to Gatton. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly, and check out our service. We are Bootstraps Veterans Charity. Yeah, we'd love to. As I said, we're really, really big on collaboration. So we'd love to come out and have a chat with you, Zell. Fiona's cool. Thanks, Ivan. So with Jimmy Tuns, with the JTA, which stands for the Joint Transition Authority in its infancy, and the gateway support through many ESOs, is it a possibility to link it with organisations such as Oasis to supercharge the network you already have? So Oasis is up in Townsville, and JTA is a Joint Transition Authority. So yeah, look, I think we are, as I said, we are looking at going out to all veteran wellbeing centres across the country, and Oasis being a fabulous centre that's based in Townsville. And I guess the reason why Soldier On hasn't gone up there already is more a case of, where's the demand and where's the service provision. So one of the things that we wanted to do is provide services where there are no services at present. But I think we actually have an opportunity of one of our staff members who is actually going to be moving to Townsville. So that's the other thing that we do. One of our staff members moved to Sale, and that's one of the reasons why we now have a presence in Sale. One of the things that we like to do is, rather than just say goodbye to a staff member when they have to move, because of course we all know that particular staff member moved because they got deployed in a new location, and we know all about deploying to new locations. So we don't like losing staff members, so we took up that service in that particular location. Okay, so Zell's got the, so yeah, I think collaboration with the guys in Townsville is definitely possible. And Zell's put some stuff up there about bootstraps. Thanks for that, leather work. That's great. So Justin, I missed his surname. Not sure if one of the team can answer that one. It's a good idea. So Kerry Polish Newdick. Reboot Trauma Recovery 12 Weeks essay, course helping veterans to deal with moral trauma, very timely. Enrolments are now open in South Australia for a September 18 start. Of course, not just a support group, so have a read of that one. That sounds great. That gave us tools to move forward with purpose. Hubby is RNZ vet. It was great that he could access this free service run by Veterans for Veterans. Excellent. So John Wilson. I think that's the John Wilson from Macquarie in Sydney. G'day, John. So maybe not. Why increase permanent staff with all the costs? Wouldn't it be better to have less staff and use specialist providers or volunteers instead? Look, as I said, we actually have a combination of paid professional staff as well as volunteers. So the ratio at the moment is really healthy. So it's like we have like 6 volunteers for every paid person. And it's sort of similar to the argument that you have between, if you recall during the bushfires, there was a fair bit of debate about professionalising the Rural Fire Service and the CFA, because of course we know that they're all volunteers. There was a lot of debate about paying the Rural Fire Service, and a lot of people in the Rural Fire Service who are volunteers said, no, we don't want to get paid. So it's really quite interesting, this discussion around paid employees versus volunteers. I think the reality is Soldier On has a hybrid model. Some services have all volunteers, some have all paid employees. We think that we've got a really good, healthy balance of volunteers to paid people, of a ratio of about 6 to 1, so 6 volunteers for every paid person within the organisation. Our view is that you've got to have paid people to have that sort of full-time, and many of them are part-time as well, and professional, dedicated, turn up to work every day type situation. So it's a decision that Soldier On made before my time, and I think that model works really well. And of course, we'd love to have like all voluntary type basis, but the reality is we've had lots of volunteers that turn up for 2 weeks and then that's it. They don't come in the 3rd week. So it's in order to ensure that we've got that continued service provision right across the country, and a professional one at that. But thanks for the question, John. So who gets to post on the jobs boards? That's a good question. So we have around 150 organisations that are signed up to the Soldier On pledge. So those organisations like Boeing and BAE and so forth, we then look at the jobs that they have available in their organisation. And some of these organisations have like a massive amount of jobs that are available. So we really only post jobs on the jobs board for those who have actually gone through our formal Pathways Pledge program, and then that's the jobs that we actually post on the board. So, and there's, like I said, there's like thousands. So Beck saying, so I'm doing one of the service ambassadors for Soldier On. We are definitely looking at linking in with hubs like Oasis. And Beck visited there in July to check it out. It's an amazing service. The more coordination that can occur, the better. Thanks, Beck. Grant Edwards, absolutely lots of vets on the FOL. Gold Coast Tweedheads. TAFE in Queensland, big funding. Look, that's the other thing with TAFE Queensland. Soldier On has actually signed a formal memorandum of understanding with TAFE Queensland. So John Hargrave did that out of our Brisbane office, and that's proving to be a really good relationship with lots of opportunities for education at TAFE Queensland for veterans and their families. Some additional info that my team's posted. For the question from Yantra. So Pete's saying, please ask veterans and family who are comfortable to appear in front of the Royal Commission. Absolutely. Look, at the end of the day, it's veterans and those who are interested in what's taking place in the Royal Commission and most are able to appear directly with the Royal Commission, and indeed many will. But there will only be a certain amount of opportunities as well, I think. So, but some people just won't be comfortable doing that, and they would prefer to go through an organisation like Soldier On. And there are other veteran organisations and non-veteran organisations who will be appearing before the Royal Commission as well. So I think there's a whole different aspects. What's really important is that the government really gets the message out of the Royal Commission and takes action. Okay, so my guys posted, stay up to date on Soldier On's involvement in the Royal Commission. Check out the new pages and updates. So if you go to the soldieron.org.au blog section, there'll be a monthly newsletter as to what we're doing with the Royal Commission. Okay, let's go down to some more. So replying to Brett Newman, recruited a new staff member who will be commencing in a couple of weeks. I've already mentioned that. So from Flick, is there scope for program officers and volunteers to get more merchandise? It would assist in getting the organisation's name out there, especially for activities. At the moment, activity groups just look like a group of people as opposed to an organisation supporting each other. So we actually do have a merchandise section on our website, and we also provide merchandise for Soldier On employees, and Flick is Jody is what so Jody, look, I think absolutely if you need some more merchandise, absolutely up at Port Macquarie, look, happy to provide more, just let us know. So Liam's asking, how can companies get involved with Soldier On to support veterans? We actually have a really wide, bespoke type program for organisations. So it's very much on the basis of what they find really interesting. So there are some organisations, for example, that are just interested in signing the pledge, which is the employment pathway, because they may, for example, be already supporting other ex-service organisations. So an example of that is Talus, who've signed the pledge, but they're big supporters of Legacy, and that's fine. But we have gala balls. We have a National Gala Ball in Canberra, one in Sydney. We've got one coming up in Adelaide and Melbourne. So I'd definitely love to have corporates buy tables at those functions. Those functions can be found on our website under Gala Balls. There's also the Golf Vet-Am that we do in Canberra, and there's one in Brisbane. There's also March On. So just having an interesting conversation with a number of corporates right now with having groups. So BGIS were huge with March On, where we had 6,300 people participated in March On, raising $1.85 million for Soldier On. And BGIS raised 50 grand and had staff members all over the country. So the reality is there are so many different ways organisations can come in to Soldier On, be it the Pathways program, be it a gala ball, be it general financial support. So we had the Pratt Foundation, for example, that donated $1 million to Soldier On recently. So there's a whole heap of different ways in which organisations can interact with Soldier On. Okay. So they asked about Justin Wilbur. That's right. Yeah. So becoming pledge partners. There's a link there that Beck's put up. Thanks, Beck. Yantra. Are we noticing an increased need for services with the current situation with Afghanistan? Absolutely. So our phones have been, the 1300 number has been running hot. So we've put more staff members on that phone. Also, just every single member within Soldier On has been just flat out all week talking to veterans, to participants. It's I would suggest that it's probably doubled, if not tripled, in the number of volume of calls that we're getting, and people are really quite distressed. And as I said at the introduction, particularly distressed around those that assisted the ADF and the Allies in Afghanistan. What will happen to them? The Taliban's come out and says they're not going to harm anyone, but it's hard to believe. But at least they've made that comment. But yeah, look, there's been a very, very substantial increase in the number of calls that we've received, and for those people that we're assisting and helping, and I'm making it even more difficult with a large part of the east coast of Australia now in lockdown. We're all in lockdown in Canberra, in Sydney, and in Melbourne. It makes it even doubly difficult. I've got an answer there for Jody. Rolling Thunder Vietnam. Hi, I've supported you and Mates for Mates in the past and would love to once again support Soldier On. I am the producers of Rolling Thunder Vietnam and will be touring in 2022 pending lockdown. That's fantastic. I love love all the history of Vietnam and Long Tan, and have actually personally been to Long Tan and checked out the cross, which is now on the Australian War Memorial. I actually saw it when I was over there. But yeah, look, that sounds fantastic. I would love to hear from you, and yeah, mates. We talk to Mates for Mates quite a bit as well. So yeah, no, that's fantastic, and would love to have your support, and be really interested in the Rolling Thunder Vietnam tour. So Clay Marks, hi, I'm a Soldier On team. Hey Clay, how are you? So from there, how many veterans and family members are currently helping? So there's probably two statistics there. One is the number of people that have been engaged with Soldier On, and the reality is the number that's been engaged with Soldier On actually is in the hundreds of thousands. So for example, when we did the virtual Anzac Day memorial service, it was viewed by more than 120,000 people. So, there's a lot of people that we're engaged with. Our Facebook has around 100,000. The Aussies and Kiwis site has 250,000. In terms of people that we are directly supporting with our services, that number's around 6,000. Are approaching 6,000, and people come and go. So there are people that, for example, we will help them get a job, and that's all they really wanted help with, and it's done. We do encourage them to come back and help, and to seek help. The other thing is, sometimes one of the things I get talking to a number of veterans is that they feel like they can only utilise Soldier On services if there's something wrong or if they're damaged in some way. That's not the case. Anyone that's put on a uniform for a day, we have so many fun social connection activities. We've got photography, some fantastic photographic courses. We've got surfing, we've got sailing on pit water. That's when we're out of lockdown. We've got garlic braiding, sea glass making. So we even do Dungeons and Dragons. So there's something for everyone, and you don't have to be a wounded veteran. All you have to be is someone who put on a uniform for a day, or a family member. So yeah, look, we do encourage people to get involved. Rolling Thunder, Vietnam. Then I'll put my name up, Rebecca Blake. So Pete agrees we need a core of full-time professionals. I agree. So just Jody again. Yeah, look, definitely with the merchandise, that's something we can definitely discuss. Jody, no problems. Jay's there, so that's Justin. Hi there. How are you, mate? He's on the call. So that's Justin. So you're a legend, Justin. Justin, started the Driveway at Dawn movement. Just how fantastic, just amazing. 250,000 followers on Facebook, hundreds of thousands of people that were out on Anzac Day, just fantastic. So yeah, g'day to you too, Jay. Justin, you're a legend. Okay. We're going to increase our footprint in Darwin when the welfare centre is open. So yeah, that's from Michael Hurren. So we've got Christine and Sam, who are located in Darwin at present. Both Christine and Sam deliver our Pathways program, so that's our employment program. We also recently signed the pledge with the NT government, which is fantastic because it's actually the first government that actually signed the pledge right across the country. They employ 30,000 people, so amazing. And we've had discussions about, so that means that we're providing the E and HELP and the others are virtually. And we also talk to other ex-service organisations like Reeling Veterans, who do a fantastic job in Darwin with the fishing. So yeah, look, absolutely. I've talked to my team about putting someone up there for social connections. I think that would be good. And absolutely, we've spoken to Troy from Mates for Mates, and we will be going in the Veteran Wellbeing Centre in Darwin when it opens. Absolutely, we will. So Beck's talking about the events. Click on the calendar. Thanks, Beck. Arncliffe RSL sub-branch. We would love if you come out to our sub-branch at Arncliffe to see what we can do with regards to their health and wellbeing. Would absolutely love to come out. So we've already got a number of relationships with a number of RSL branches right across the country. We're with RSL Ramsgate in Sydney, which is not far from you at Arncliffe. We're at RSL Gaythorne, we're at RSL branches in Perth. So yeah, we have really good relationships with RSL sub branches, and would love to come out. So I'll definitely make sure one of my team members. Sorry, it's my phone again. So would love to be part of that. So Pete Long 10 today, delivering online services, and I'm conscious of the time. Thank you for leading the team. Thanks, Rebecca. It's Flick saying it's not Jodie, it's my sister. Great, thanks, Flick. So Aussies and Kiwis for Anzacs. We've got the group up there. And Jay, it's been an honour working with you and the team to support our vets and their families. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Justin. Okay, so I think we're up to final questions. So that's been it's been pretty amazing. So we'll just wrap up shortly from Jimmy with employment of VSOs. Are you seeing a reduction of people asking for help with DVA? No, I think the demand for our services from DVA is just up there. And in the last budget, I don't know if you've noticed, but the DVA had a $400 million increase in their funding to deal with the Royal Commission and to provide more support, because the reality is that DVA are just not getting to their claims. I put my own personal claim in nearly 12 months ago just to see how long it would take, and I'm still waiting. So, and I just wanted to see how long the process was. It's just forever. So look, I think the reality is that I think the services from DVA are just going to continue. The demand for the services of DVA is just going to continue, particularly now. So, yeah, look, I think that won't stop. From John, there's always opportunities around Australia and Canberra, where I'm based, for veterans to join Disaster Relief Australia. Yes, and we love working with you guys, and we did our joint program with you guys up at your lawn in Queensland, which was fantastic, and would love to do more with you guys. Do a fantastic job, especially in disaster zones. So I think we're sort of like hit 5:01, so I think that's probably our time frame for today's session. I'd just like to thank you all for being part of our live Q&A. It's certainly been lots of people on the call, lots of questions and lots of interaction, so really appreciate that. And let us know in the comments if this is something you've found worthwhile and wanting to do again, so that my team can decide whether we do it again soon. So thanks once again. We love all your support of Soldier On, support of our veterans and their family members, and really appreciate those of you who have served our country. It's one of the reasons why I do this job. It's so precious to protect our democracy, and it's veterans and their families who do that and protect our way of life, and we've got just the utmost respect for you. Thank you very much. See you guys.